Hi all, this is Skate, and I usually don't do reviews on very low tier tanks because it's pointless. People don't really keep them that often, and the grind is very quick, so it's not something you're going to be stuck on for a long time. But the French low tier tanks are very bad. Now when I say bad, I genuinely mean these things suck giant donkey nuts. They are really irritating. Now I remember making a video previously saying there's no such thing as a bad tank, guys. It's just a different tank or a challenging tank. No. Then they introduced the Sau 40. I have never hated a tank as much as I do that one. I would genuinely rather chew on glass than drive that tank again. I would rather sit in a Dicamax in a tier 10 game 100 games in a row than drive that tank again. In fact, I think I would have more fun in a Dicamax in a tier 10 game than I would driving that tank again. It just sucks and there are no redeeming factors. So what I thought I would do is just put up the mastery games I've had in the FTAC, the UE57 and then the Sau 40. Yes, I am well aware this is borderline dirty, stinking, naughty seal clubber. However, this is my first game out in this tank, so I thought I'd share it for a laugh, and more importantly to try and give my opinion on how you should avoid suffering badly in these tanks. Now you could just free XP past them, or if you're like me and you have this thing in your head of, I'd like to get a mastery in every tank one day, there are certain things you need to try and do, like play through these horrible things. Now, my first game out, I got quite lucky. I had an AFK on the enemy team, so that did help a lot. But the best recommendations I can make for these tanks is don't be the focal point, especially in this thing. There is just no armor whatsoever. So when you are focused, you will die very quickly. If you're not the focal point, it's actually got a very good gun. And the HE is also very good, providing you are able to keep still and point at the weak spots. But that is genuinely the only good thing about this tank. It's got a nasty gun. You can't traverse it at all. As you can see here, there's no gun arc, there is no gun depression, and there is very little gun elevation. But I did get very lucky with this first game, which means I don't need to play this tank again. But if you are going to play this tank to try and get the mastery in it, it is as simple as don't get shot, point blank. Just avoid it at all costs, even if it means, well, you're not going to be able to run away because the tank's slow as hell as well. But basically, avoid being the focal point and being in people's faces. It's just going to make a mess of you, and rapidly quick. Hide behind rocks, hide behind friendlies, and let them take the heat for you. You're not using them purely as meat shields then, because you are providing them cover fire. Hands down though, this tank is only good in a situation where you are not being pointed at, because as soon as you are just dead in the water. Now, as you can see, I didn't put any equipment or crew, well, 100% crew on that. There was no point, so you'll see it's my first game in it, and once you've got your mastery, or you've got enough XP, depending which one you can tolerate first, the best recommendation I could do is go to the next screen by here, and then click that sell button and never look at it ever again. And then we come on to the tier 3 UE57. I was very excited to play this tank because it's adorable. It is. Look how small it is. It's like a lawnmower. It's really cute and it's a funny looking tank. So I was looking forward to playing this, thinking it's going to be ridiculously stealthy and it's going to be very good fun as a result. So I'll park my tank up in places like this, and I'll wait up, and then I'll have some idiot on my team just push me around because they think it's fun. Now, it really irritated me, this did, because it's not just once this happened. I would say in around 50% of the games I played, people did that to me. On my team, not the Reds. So yeah, that's frustrating. I could see the funny side. Well, if I wasn't frustrated from trying to drive the thing, I would see the funny side. but driving it can really, really wind you up. Because I really, really want to enjoy this thing, but you just can't. I mean, the gun is good. It's got great penetration values. But does penetration mean anything when any tank on the enemy team can tap you and pretty much ram you to death? On top of that, you have no gun depression, and you have a very, very, very small gun arc, which means you can't sit still and camp the bush because you're going to constantly need to turn your hull, which means you're more than likely going to get spotted. If this thing had a better gun arc and gun depression, it would be a lot more fun. I was hoping this would kind of be like a micro grill. If it had a nice big gun arc, it would be very, very good fun for that. And if it had better mobility, it would be perfect and like a micro grill. But it's not. And the best recommendation I can make for driving this tank is be the loner. I'm not saying don't platoon. You'll see I'm in a platoon with my other half. She's in her BT7 artillery. But I don't want her to go anywhere near me in this. I just want to be all alone, away from people who can accidentally knock me on my team, intentionally knock me on my team, and away from the Reds, so I'm not the focal point. And that is the only way you can do well in this tank. Now, if I drove up there right now, I would get absolutely annihilated. So the best way I can help her is by playing the long-range game. In Blitz, though, let's be fair, there's only so long you can play this long-range game. So the end game is at some point you have to get stuck in. And getting stuck in will mean getting annihilated very, very quickly. Now, if you did fully kit out this tank, the accuracy would probably be better. I won't put 100% crew on it because I had no intention of keeping it. Well, I was hoping to keep it, however I won't put 100% crew on low tier tanks, or high tier tanks for that matter. I will always go 75%. So if you do want to fill this thing with equipment, etc., your accuracy will be better, a lot better probably, but that still won't fix the gun depression, or the gun arc, or your team buddies who want to use you as that extra bit of spaced armour on the front of their tank. So this is exactly why I say play the long range YOLO. No, not YOLO. Don't YOLO this. Play the long range loner game in this tank. It can really help the team to be putting down the cover fire, and on top of that, you're not the main target, you're not going to be shot. And because I am so far away, the gun arc doesn't matter as much if I'm moving, because, well, I'm so far away, my camo's great at this range. And I've got some shots in, but obviously you can see we are losing, and my team over there are being overrun. So we do need to push in to help, really. Now this is where things get a little bit shaky in this tank. Because I tend to find, as soon as you are spotted, as soon as people see you, you are numero uno target on the list. Everybody wants to kill you first, because you're just so easy to take out. So I'm trying to stay long range, and I'm going to get... I was happy with that shot. Get some nice shots under the train here, and I am going to use the train quite a bit in this game as my armour. Because even with no equipment and 75% crew, you have a very, very accurate gun. And I do need to reset this cap, but you'll see my platoon buddy, she is on the flank because she is very, very low health, and the other tank, I have no idea what they're doing. So I'm going to go try and spot, and I'm going to try and go reset the cap. If I had a better gun arc, this would be much, much easier. But oh look, there's a Sau. And it can't shoot me, but I can shoot the top of it, because it sucks, even worse than this tank. But the beauty is I do have the train to keep me covered. And as long as I keep using that train, the Sau can't use his derp gun if he has the derp gun to shoot me, but yet I can still shoot the tumour on top of his tank, providing I don't screw up 2 shots in a row and miss it. Now, I've hit him once and the cap's still going up, and I completely miss the UE57, and he does hit me. Which in theory means, well, it's not even in theory, the UE57 is the one capturing the points, so he is on my hit list, and I have to, no, he's not, it's him. So I've got to get one into him, and we do manage to reset the cap, and straight back into cover. Now they do know where I am, so I don't want to come out next and shoot the very, very low health Sau 40, which in theory is a logical thing to do to get a gun out. My friendly Sau does finish him off, which means I can just prioritise taking shots into this guy through the trains. Now, well, I say trains, through the carriages. He is tracked in position, so I do want to get this guy out. However, before he does that, he is about to take my friendly Sau out, which means we're now in a 1-on-3. But as soon as he pops out to cover, we can get one into him, and the PZ is after me. I'm about to reload, get one more into him, and he does manage to, like, get one big one into me. However, I'm so short, I'm so small, I can shoot under these tracks all day long. Now, with my rate of fire, there was absolutely nothing he could do. But the Matilda can two-shot me, so I do need to be very careful, and he was last seen down this direction. So I'm going to go round the buildings, and I'm going to come by this bush, and according to our M5 Stuart, we are going to lose this one. Thank you for the vote of confidence. But we do spot him, and we can get more shots under the track. But it does look like he is AFK. So we're just going to keep pumping as many shots as we can. He's popped off the map at 95 meters, but we do kill him. Just the end of the game. 38 seconds left on the clock, and it looks like he was AFK. But to be fair, I think even if he wasn't and he was by there, we could have very easily got more shots into him. But it does mean at the end we do get a nice array of medals, including obviously our mastery, collar ban-offs, and we get the defender and a high caliber. And we got 743 spare parts, and I'm not too unhappy with that anyway, especially for a tier 3 tank. And then we're going to have a quick look at the Sau 40. Obviously, just to recap, the FTAC, it is literally a case of do not be the focal point, do not let people shoot at you. And remember to use the HE on very, very lightly armoured tanks. On the UE57, it is play the long range game and be a loner. Avoid being near anyone. You won't get spotted then, and nobody will come looking for you because there's nothing else near you spotted. The Sau 40, or the SAU 40. It's bad. I really do think this tank is bad. If you do want to make a proper go of this tank, use the second from Top Gun. Don't use the Top Gun, it has 30 penetration on the derp gun. It's awful, which is the gun I'm using here. Use the other gun. It does 160 damage, it's got way more penetration, and it's considerably more reliable. However, I'm a moron. I really wanted to master this tank with this derp gun, and I didn't finish this guy off in one shot, so I'm going to ram kill him. Something I never thought a Sau could do, because it doesn't exactly have the mobility. But that shot there, considering it's the first shot, if you've never played this tank, you'll see, potentially, will make you think, ooh, massive damage, it's a KV2 at tier 4. No, those shots very, very rarely happen. You end up with shots like that most of the time. And you're looking at a 15-second reload to do about 100 to 300 damage, potentially. If you get lucky and you penetrate, then yeah, you'll get a nice high damage roller. Or you're going to end up needing to turn to your heat. And if you're using this gun, you do need to turn to your heat an awful lot. Especially if you're in a tier 5 game, because you have absolutely no hope of penetrating a KV1. And trust me, I was in a one-on-one several times with a KV1, and I got annihilated every single time because the splash damage I could do to him was abysmal and pathetic. I mean, I said this in my previous quick review of the French tanks. This has... well, it reminds me of a Hetzer, but yet it's really, really bad. If you want a decent tier 4 tank destroyer to keep, get the Hetzer. It beats this thing hands down all day, every single day. I mean, yes, this has very good gun depression, but that means nothing when you have that giant weak tumor on top. So for every good point I think this tank has, I think it has the exact opposite in terms of bad points. It's got great gun depression, it's irrelevant, it has a massive tumor on top. It does 400 alpha, it's irrelevant, 30 penetration. 15-second reload, and I'm firing my heat at the side of this Matilda because there is no way I'm doing any damage with that HE. Also mobility. The mobility is awful, so you can't flank. If you sit at the back, there's a good chance you are going to end up being far too late to the battle by the time you are worth doing something. And being slow, you think it would have great armor. It doesn't. The armor, you're not going to bounce much off the front. And on top of that, nobody's going to shoot at the front. Everybody shoots at that thing on top. To me, and it is my opinion, there is no redeeming factors to this tank. I hate it. I think it's the worst tank in Blitz. In fact, I think this is the most negative video I have done. And can you blame me? I mean, Sau is a female pig at the end of the day. And this thing is a pig of a tank. It is horrible. So the best recommendation I can make for this tank is sell it. If I had the option to burn it, I would. Thankfully, the S35, which comes after that, or the bathtub, is actually very, very good. And I'm enjoying that tank an awful lot. I'm also enjoying the ARL V39. That's a lot of fun as well. So, all in all, the lower tier French tank destroyers absolutely suck. But I hope you've enjoyed watching the replays of the masteries from the tier 2, 3 and 4. I won't be playing these tanks again. And I'm very, very, very glad I have mastered them, so I don't need to go back. But I hope there's a couple of little things in here you've pulled out and gone, hey, that's going to make it easier when I'm playing that tank. Anyway, thank you all for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.